Hello, we're off to Spain in this challenge for the El Cid Campaign. As the Spanish, you get full archer upgrades, but are also one of the very few civs that don't get the crossbowman upgrade. So the challenge this time is to beat the campaign using only archers. It was suggested by Friendly Neighbor, so thank you. When I decided on the challenge, I was forgetting a lot about the campaign that made the challenge more interesting, if a bit easier. I'll mention it when the moments come up. The rules this time are that I can only deal damage with archers, although I will allow defensive buildings this time. I feel like the arrows are on theme, and I don't think I could win without them. It's the last of the full campaigns from both the Conquerors expansion and the old most nostalgic ones. This is one of my favorite campaign stories, so let's get started. The beginning of the first level fails the challenge right away. I begin with just El Cid himself, and I can only get villagers and archers by fighting in the tournament. I'll leave the trigger manipulation to T West and just kill the two champions. After winning the fight, King Sancho gives me command of his army. I need to delete most of it, but I can keep the few archers and the villagers. I move the small group west towards Alfonso, and when El Cid reaches a small village, they join me with their villagers. While I start to collect resources, my archers scout around, and I have to delete more of the men that join my army. I send El Cid to hide in one of King Sancho's castles, as he won't be fighting anymore. Once my town center goes up, Sancho tributes me some resources to get started with. I spend some time just building up, as Alfonso's army isn't very active, and I don't have much to worry about. Sending El Cid into Sancho's city causes a bunch of the houses to switch to my side, so I won't have to build many for myself. I train up some more archers and get the feudal age blacksmith upgrades. I fortify my base with a house wall, and make more archery ranges to keep production high once I go on the attack. I click up to the castle age, and while I'm advancing, Alfonso finally attacks. My archers take some serious damage, but are able to fight off the knights. At this stage they are still just feudal age units, but soon I can grab the castle age upgrades. I've never used archers beyond their feudal age while getting all the upgrades like this, so it will be interesting to see how strong they get, especially in the imperial age. Not in this level though. In this one I can only reach the castle age. Once I have all the available upgrades, I head towards the enemy and start poking at their defenses to see what the best angle of attack will be. My archers are strong enough to defeat the troops that come out to fight, but they can barely make a scratch on the walls, gate, or towers. I'll need to try something else. I build a market to eventually make a trade route, and it also lets me see Sancho's line of sight. The enemy's strongest defense is the large number of scorpions that they can make, now with ballistics, that are hard for my archers to defeat. As the fighting goes on, I kill some of their villagers. Alfonso doesn't have a town center, so those are permanent losses. I finally get through the gate, but it doesn't do much to change the situation, so I send archers around to the west to take out some towers. I send another group around the north where they fight through an army and deal some damage to the stables up there. I try to have 3 attacks going at once, but I just don't have the population space to keep it up. Part of the struggle is that archer training times are very long, 35 seconds, which is one of the things that improves with the crossbow upgrade. It takes a lot of time, but I can outproduce the enemy, and I slowly grind through the front towers and one of their barracks, but I still struggle against the siege weapons. Having lost most of their villagers, the enemy production rate is greatly reduced, and I'm able to take out the archery ranges and the rest of the barracks. With so many production buildings taken out, it's time to destroy the castle, but a full army of archers only takes out about a quarter of its health. 3 more waves of archers are what it takes to destroy the castle and capture King Alfonso. Sending Alfonso and El Cid back to King Sancho wins the level, but in the cutscene afterwards, we learn that Alfonso has his brother Sancho killed and takes over the kingdom. Now El Cid has to fight for Alfonso in the second level, where we have to stop the revolt in Toledo, which has both Spanish and Saracen soldiers. I begin with a large army that I delete most of to get started on my base. As I am building up, I meet Motamed, the nearby Saracen leader who I am allied with, which brings me to the major thing that I forgot about this campaign. The Saracen team bonus makes my archers do extra damage to buildings, which will be extremely helpful in the levels going forward. I send a villager out to build some walls, while I train up more villagers, but I run out of stone and am stuck making flimsy wooden walls. I am able to finish my walls just as the first enemies arrive. They start trying to break in, and I don't have much time before my walls fall, so I send my starting archers in and try to repair, but there are too many skirmishers, and they go down fast. With few other options, I sell off most of my food and wood to buy enough stone to build a castle. I'm able to get it up, but I have to garrison my town center as well, while I send El Cid into the castle to be safe. I don't have murder holes yet, so I have to use my remaining archers to distract the enemy while my castle kills them. Eventually the castle clears the enemy out, and I have a villager re-wall, this time with stone. I have a moment to build back up and make some more archery ranges to replace my lost units. My castle holds the enemy back long enough for me to get both ballistics and murder holes, so that it can be left to defend my base unattended. That leaves my archers free to head out and secure another gold mine, as the one in my walls just ran out. With my archers already on the eastern side of the map, I decide to attack Toledo from that direction. I take out some villagers before reaching the Moorish town center, which I destroy. The Spanish try to stop me, but I have enough archers to defeat them. I press further and take out more villas, then swing around to enter the city from the north. The gate opens up for me, and all the production buildings are open for my attack. It's not especially fast, though better than last time due to the Saracen bonus, and I take out all the buildings within the north side of the city with minimal losses. It also reveals 3 of the 4 relics that I will need to end the rebellion. My men finally end their successful run when they reach the Spanish castle, and even the Saracen team bonus isn't enough to take the castle out in one wave, especially with the surrounding towers and enemy units that keep attacking. I do manage to grab 3 of the relics and get them onto a transport ship. I need monks for this level, but otherwise I won't be using them. For my next army, I head in from the west, where I find the Spanish economy and town center. They have a lot of defensive towers, but that's nothing my archers can't handle, and I destroy their TC. Unfortunately, the castle was repaired between my attacks, so my archers can't finish it off. After they die, I send my next wave back in through the north. I have them slip by the castle, where they take out some more towers and more of the Moors' production buildings, before dying to the second castle. With the map running out of gold mines, I set up a trade route with Motamed, while the next wave of archers is prepared. Now that the other threats are gone, I can send my archers in under the castle and destroy it safely, as they don't have murder holes. I do the same to the Moorish castle to clear the way to the relic. Once my monk grabs it, I get him on the boat with the other 3 and El Cid and send them to the island with the Imam. With the relics, he can end the revolt, although I don't know how much danger there is now that I've cleared out the city. Unfortunately, King Alfonso is suspicious of El Cid's support and popularity, so he exiles him in the 3rd level. I begin with just a single unit and need to leave the city. As I'm leaving, Alfonso fully turns on me and I have to run. A group of soldiers joins me, but none of them are archers, so I delete them. I keep having to dodge groups of soldiers that try and stop me. It's a good thing El Cid is fast. There's a castle between me and Motamed, so I need to get some men to break through. I take control of some buildings in the south, and with the few resources I have, start training archers and upgrading them. Some of Alfonso's men attack, but they are distracted by El Cid, and my archers kill them. When my archers are ready, I distract the castle fire with 2 of them, while the others getting close enough to be safe. I play as the Saracens here, so the castle doesn't take too long to shoot down. With the castle down, Alfonso calls for a truce, and I can safely reach Zaragoza. It is under attack by the nefarious Count Berengar, so I have to defend the city. I haven't gotten any more resources, so the archers I have are all I'll get, and I need to be careful with them. I let Motamed's troops bear the brunt of the attack, while having my archers clean up from behind. After taking out the forward siege workshop, Motamed gives me some resources and villagers, allowing me to build up southeast of the city. I use my archers to continue defending Motamed, while I slowly grow my economy. Once the economy is strong, I send some archers out to find Berengar, while making some forward buildings to support my attack. I break in through the gate and head in, where I fight through most of the army, but I'm stopped by the castle. A second group of archers lets me take out the barracks, then head around to the west, cutting between 2 castles. There is a bombard tower here that I have to take down before I can head in, but when I do, I can eliminate more of their production buildings. It takes 1 more wave of archers, but I am able to destroy their town center, winning the level. Despite him being terrible, El Cid remains loyal to King Alfonso, and when he calls for help against Yusuf's Berber invasion, we ride to his aid. I delete my army and ride alone towards the battleground, where I grab the king and evacuate to our secured base. Meanwhile, Alfonso's army is defeated by Yusuf. I have some time to build up my economy and prepare my defenses before any attacks come in, so I gather up the stone for a castle that will be enough for a while. When the first attack by the Blackguard army comes in, my castle and archers can fight it off. After fighting off a large attack by 2 of the enemy armies, I send some archers out to raid a gold mine, partially to stop them from getting the gold, but more so that I can mine it myself. This is the first level where I can reach the Imperial Age, where I can grab the last few upgrades of Bracer, Chemistry, and Ring Armor. I build some forward ranges, but I can't push out any further as I have to protect my gold miners. Once I have a large group of archers, I start taking out the nearby towers, which their army can't stop. I can push further and take out some enemy production buildings, but there are 2 castles that stop me from going too far. I build my own castle and take out the trebuchets that try and destroy it. My gold mine runs out though, and I need to head east towards Yusuf to get more. I need to take out the towers so that I will be able to keep the gold coming in, at least for a while longer. I can also push in and take out some of the production buildings. Their army continues to try and stop me, but streaming units in one at a time is perfect for my archers. As I get closer to the coast, the enemy galleons can fire on my archers, which is annoying, but doesn't do damage very quickly. I am able to destroy all of Yusuf's production buildings, except for his castle, then move on to the town center. Once through that, I can reach the first of the 6 docks that I need to destroy to win the level. I try to reach the second nearby dock, but take a massive hit from a demo ship that kills half my army, and I pull back. While I wait for more archers, I build a castle to protect my last gold mine, and more archery ranges to grow my army faster. I start my attack on the Navy's city, but am pushed back by their skirmishers, just about the perfect unit to fight against my archers. I head back in, pushing through a monastery and a town center to reach the second dock, before my army is whittled down. To train more archers, I need to trade for gold at the market, as I have run out of gold mines. I do at least get the Saracen market bonus. I build a dock and transport ship to bring my archers to the small island, where they eliminate another dock. I try to sail further and bypass the enemy, but there is a castle that nearly sinks my ships. Instead, I will do the long grind through the enemy buildings. I make an attack on the east side of the city, but my army is destroyed after only eliminating one building. Part of the difficulty is the castle preventing my attacks from the north, so I build my own castle where I can shoot it down. Once the castle falls, I can head in, but their army is still strong enough to push me back out and kill most of my archers. It looks like the level will be dragging on, so I set up a trade route with Yusuf's market to keep the gold coming in. The angle that I attack is pretty important, and they don't seem to be rebuilding any destroyed buildings, so I can send men in, take out a production building, and then the next attack will be a little easier. After taking out some more buildings, I head in through the eastern wall and destroy another dock. I move in further, but my men die, so I bring villagers with my next wave to build a castle for more support. It seemed like a good idea, but I didn't realize they had trebuchets, and I lose everything. Looks like there are no shortcuts here, so I send in several more waves until I've destroyed all of the production buildings and most of the towers. The next time I build my castle, it stays up and can defend me from the Blackguard Navy. I have my archers destroy 2 more docks before sailing across to the last one, winning the level. That was pretty tedious. It would have been miserable without the Saracen bonus. Let's move on. In the 5th level, El Cid is exiled again, with no Motammed to run to this time, so I'm back to playing as the Spanish. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of my first failed attempt, but I'll just say that it was following the normal way to play through the level, and I failed miserably. For that reason, I have a plan to break the level. I run El Cid around the 3 swordsmen that try and stop him, and claim the town of Denia. I have to delete the few troops that come with the town, and I immediately send my villagers north. I build a wall across the gate that Count Berengar will attack through, as otherwise I only get a few minutes in the city. I only have 4 villagers, and one is nearly killed by a scout, but they get the job done. Now, I don't get any wood or lumber camp, and I have no archers, so I can't fight at all. And I'm walled into this part of the map by Denia's locked gate. So it seems like I can only get a little more food out of this delay. But I have one more option. I can use El Cid to bait the 3 swordsmen from before down to the Denia gate, and if I time it just right, they will stop chasing El Cid just as they reach it. They are aggressive enough that they will start attacking the wall, which is just what I need to get through. I have my villagers gather some food in the meantime, and after waiting several minutes, send El Cid back down to find the way clear. After drawing the champions away, I have him ride down through Lerida, where I get some soldiers to delete, but also some more villagers, before reaching Valencia. I take control of the city, and need to bait the pikes and archers that are attacking the walls towards the castle, which kills them. Now I have some villagers and a town center where they can drop off wood to build up my economy. Count Berengar won't trigger his attack on Valencia until he takes Denia, so I get as much time as I want to build up with no risk at all. I spend a long time building my economy, and eventually kill the champions that had been so helpful with my archers. I construct a large bank of archery ranges while waiting to reach a full population of fully upgraded archers. When that time comes, I delete the walls stopping the Count's army, and let it attack Denia. Once they get far enough, my retreat is triggered, which causes the Wonder in Valencia to start being built, which I need to finish to win the level. I go ahead and defeat the attacking army with my archers, which is pretty easy. Then send the archers back around while re-walling in that side of the map. I only need to defend the Wonder, so I bring all my archers to the north of Valencia and build a castle there. Count Berengar starts attacking, but he can't do much. His Imperial Frank units are strong, but I can always train more archers than they can kill. I fight my way through the bombard towers to reach the walls of his fortress, while I only need to wait for the Wonder. This gives me something to do, and lessens the risk of attacks on the Wonder, so I keep going. I get further into the base while taking out buildings, eventually finding double castles that will be hard to crack. I keep training archers and sending them in until I tear down the castles and reach the town center, just as I finish the Wonder, completing the level. There might be someone out there who could win that level, the normal way, with the challenge, but that's not me. There won't be any tricks like that in the final level, though. The 6th level is the most daunting of all. I am on my own and still the Spanish, so my archers are back to normal when up against buildings. I start with a large army that I need to delete right away, and begin the level already under attack. I have 3 Berber enemies and only start with a few villagers. Let's see what I can do. El Cid was killed before the level starts, and we have his body on display, pretending he is still alive. If he is attacked too much, the ruse will be revealed, and I will lose. I'm already under attack by trebuchets from the Blackguard army, so I try to build up my economy and train some archers to deal with it. Attacks come in on the north and west of my walls, so things are looking dangerous. I ignore the northern attack for now, while trying to defend against the other one, but it's pretty bad. My castle can take out their cavalry archers, but it is destroyed by rams, while my archers can't do much to stop them. Enemy units stream in and kill my archers too quickly. I haven't had a chance to fully upgrade mine yet, so they are in pretty bad straits. I'm out of gold, and the mine is too dangerous, so I build a market to sell for some. It lets me keep producing, but now the trebs have reached the last section of my base. I just don't have the time to build up the archer numbers that I will need, so I give up and restart. I begin in a similar way, deleting my whole army, but this time sending some villagers out to a gold mine. The one in my base is probably too dangerous, and I will still need gold for archers. I also built another archery range to get some higher numbers. If I can get a good group of them, I should be able to defend, and have time to replace any losses. I do still lose the castle, but this time I have enough archers to slowly take out the rams. That lets me continue on to destroy the trebuchets, and officially get past my first attack. Just one extra archery range was enough. Now that the danger is somewhat past, I move my gold miners back inside my walls, for when the inevitable attack from the Blackguard Navy arrives. I have my archers start whittling away at the nearby archery range, as their army has no villagers to repair or rebuild, but I have to pull back to fight off the Navy. It's not hard, but I build a defensive castle so that I won't have to pull my army back next time. I head back out and finish off the archery range, then move on to the next one. It takes longer than it would in previous levels, as I don't have that Saracen team bonus anymore, but they still fall eventually. Now Yusuf shows up with his navy, but they are at least distracted by my walls for the time being. Meanwhile, I send my archers to the northern army base that doesn't have a castle defending it, and start destroying it after fighting through their few defenders. I have to evacuate my economy further inland to get away from Yusuf's navy, and fight off more land attacks. I force up a castle in my walls where I can fire on the ships, which protects my original town center. I finish off the camp in the north, then move back around to finish off the Blackguard army. It takes 2 waves of archers and some heavy micro, but I destroy the castle, which eliminates the first of my 3 enemies. Next up is the Navy from their base in the south. They have a much stronger army than last time, and my archers are hard-pressed, but they hold their own, and I'm training reinforcements anyways. Once they get in, I join the 2 groups together and head towards the enemy town center. My archers have a longer range than it, so there isn't much risk in destroying it. After the town center falls, I clear out the rest of the production buildings and attack the castle. This one also takes 2 waves, but the castle falls just like the last one. That just leaves a couple more buildings to mop up, and Spain is clear of enemies. My last goal will be to sail to Africa and defeat Yusuf, to finally keep Valencia safe. It will probably take a while, so I start a trade route with the yellow market for when the gold mines run out. I load some villagers into a transport ship and send them to some of the small islands, where I have them build some towers to protect the area from ships while I mine the gold. I transport a force of archers to the closest island to Africa, where they can shoot down a defensive tower. They are successful, but they come under attack by Yusuf's army, showing that the island is connected by shallows. My archers die shortly after, and I research spies so that I can see the enemy. The area I landed on the coast is the only space not covered by a castle, so all of my attacks will have to happen there. I try to make an attack there, but this time it is wiped out quickly by the Berber army, without doing any lasting damage. I'm not sure if Yusuf is restricted by resource, but his base has no gold, so I might be able to defeat him by attrition if I keep sending armies in. So I send waves in 3 more times, but without any way to know if he is running out of gold. I'd like to try some more things. Next time that I land, I split the landing route between the small island and the mainland, moving deeper into the base where I might be able to do some more damage, or at least get away from the enemy ships. My archers head in, and they are eventually killed, but I immediately send another wave in to capitalize on the moment, and this group is actually able to do a little damage to the town center. My next landing makes it to the town center again, and continues the job. While waiting for the next wave, I finish clear-cutting all the trees from Spain, so I delete a bunch of villagers, getting more pop space. Those 20 extra archers might have made the difference, as my next assault destroys the town center and kills all the villagers. My archers move on to eliminate all of Yusuf's production buildings, so that I won't have to fight any more units, just the remaining castles. That will still take a ton of archers though, so I build more archery ranges in Africa. With these, I can finish the long process of destroying 3 castles with nothing but arrows. I nearly run out of wood doing it, but I win the level, which finishes the challenge. Another technical failure, as I did need to use El Cid in the first level, but otherwise good. I was a little surprised how strong the archers seemed, with the only things that really felt annoying being their shorter range and their long training time. Almost none of the levels were very hard, as my base was rarely in danger, but going on the attack was often quite difficult. I lost over 3,000 archers, most of them to defensive buildings. This campaign had an interesting dynamic, where the difficulty kept changing despite the challenge remaining the same. Just with the different levels. Either having an ally or playing as the Saracens made many of the levels a lot easier with their team bonus. It's been the butt of a lot of jokes over the years, but it was actually very useful here. I did like that I didn't have it for the final level though. It kept the difficulty up for that last part. It was definitely easier than the Attila challenge, but not too bad. I appreciate all the ideas people have given me, but I can always use more, so if you have a challenge idea, let me know. I wanted to get the classic campaigns finished first, and now that I've completed all the Conquerors campaigns, I don't have a particular order that I want to do the rest in, so any suggestions are good. I may even redo a campaign that I have already done, if the challenge idea is good enough. I'll have another shorter video up next after this one, so I hope to see you there. Goodbye!